Hey guys, just wanted to do a little pack dump video. Hunting season is coming up. It's already September. We got bear season starting here in 2 weeks. Lion season, wolf season, deer and elk coming right up. So a lot of gear questions and a lot of gear topics here in the last few weeks. So wanted to break down kind of what I've been packing. It hasn't really changed in the last few years. It's pretty much the same for bear, for deer, for elk and mountain lions and wolves and all the stuff that I've been targeting last few years. So, but a couple of things have been changed, so I do want to get into that. Normally I do a spring bear pack dump. This year I decided to kind of switch it up a little bit. So we're just going to do a little fall bear, fall deer and elk pack dump, get into the guns, get into all the survival stuff, into the optics, you name it. So let's get into it. First things first, we got the rifle itself that I've been packing. You guys have seen this. This is the Ruger American in 270 Winchester, stainless, 22-inch barrel, Vortex Strike Eagle 5 to 25 by 56. So absolutely love this scope. I just shot a bear this year at 658 yards with this setup, so no complaints there. This has been working really well for me. The lion, all the deer I've been shooting is all with this gun right here. So I did do a couple of mods to this. It just has a little tripod adapter QR plate, quick release plate for an Arca Swiss type mount, and that just kind of attaches to the swivel stud here on the front. A mossy oak nylon webbing neoprene combo strap. This thing is super cheap, just from any normal Walmart. This has worked for years. Absolutely love it. It's got really good grip, really strong because of the webbing, and nice to hold in your hands all day long. So no complaints there. Have no reason to upgrade this sling. The stock is a little flimsy on this gun, but it is really light, so I've kind of gotten by with that. Let's put this away and I'll get into everything that's on my body right now. So as you can see, got quite a bit going on up here. I have the bino harness, I have the backpack, I have a backup handgun right here. This looks like a lot, but this has just kind of been working out for me for the last few years. I have access to most of the essentials that I need. If I do need something else that's in the pack, it's not that difficult to just take some of this stuff off and get to it. But having all this accessible is really handy for me, and where I have it is strategically planned. So first things first, I'll take the pack off. This is the Mystery Ranch Sawtooth 45 liter. One of the best packs on the market. A whole bunch of professionals use this for a living. A lot of big animals, moose, elk, deer, have been packed with one of these. This can be expanded if you get the lid. I think it's an extra 10 or 11 liters, but as it is from the factory like this, it's 45 liters. Pretty big, pretty small, depending how you look at it. I have had this thing packed for like a 7-day hunt once, with the lid all full and pretty much bulging at the seams. But if you're a little bit more conservative with what you're taking, if you have a bigger group with you, you could split some of the weight. It can totally do a good week-long or 3, 4, 5-day hunt pretty easy. I'm going to unclip this right now, kind of get it out of the way. This is the backup handgun I carry, the Glock 20. A lot of video content on this one already. That video is blowing up, so be sure to watch that one. This is the Glock 20 10mm auto in a Serpa CQC holster with a little belt clip. So I have tried carrying guns in many different ways. This has been by far the best, most effective way for me. Just have it basically clipped right here to the hip belt. If I want to take the pack off, I unclip it from the pack and I clip it to my pants, and then I walk around camp or walk around the truck or whatever, filter my water, cook my food with this on my pants. That way I don't have to have the whole pack on my body. And some guys like carrying it on their chest. I'd prefer not having it on my chest after you've been wearing bino harness all day long. You're kind of sweating back here, a lot of weight here. You want to get some weight off your shoulders. So I just clip it right here to my belt and go about my day in camp like that. The little lanyard, you guys have seen that video. The whole idea behind this is you don't lose this in case you get knocked over by a bear or whatever. It's still within reach. Someone might say this might get tangled up or whatever. I have not had this get tangled up at all. It's got a nice good stretch to it. It's really solid paracord. Totally works out well for me, so I have no problem with that. 15 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, so 15 plus 1 is a pretty good amount of ammo in my opinion for whatever you may encounter. Like last year I ran into 4 mountain lions. I'd much rather have 16 rounds for that instead of like a 4, 5, 6 shot revolver. So that's my backup handgun. That is a super important piece of gear for me for what I'm doing solo in grizzly country. Next let's get into the bino harness itself. This is the Alps Outdoors Extreme something or other, I don't know, but I've had it for 5 years, 6 years. It's been working great for me. Have the wind checker on the side, dead downwind wind checker. I put a little key ring on the side so I could pull it out easier. And then right here I have the Sig Sauer Kilo 2200 MR rangefinder. So this is the pouch that it came with. I have another lanyard on this as well, pretty much the same brand I believe as what I have on the Glock. This way I could range something, I could lay it down and grab my binos without having to worry about putting it away perfectly or whatever. If I'm sitting on the edge of a cliff and I'm ranging something, I'm not worried about dropping this. I hardly ever disconnect this, ever, unless I'm cleaning it at home or I don't know, making a video about it or something. Hardly ever disconnect this, so don't have to worry about dropping it. This is the 7 by 25 rangefinder 2200 MR. This is, when I bought it, was the furthest ranging rangefinder that Sig Sauer made. Still to this day I have no reason to upgrade. I'm not shooting that far ever. This thing is just phenomenal. Never any kind of failures, never any misreadings. Waterproof, windproof, you name it, snowproof. This thing just keeps surviving. So that sits here on the side. In the pouch is my tried and true Vortex Viper HDs. So this is a brand new pair because Vortex just sent me a brand new pair. My other one they could not warranty apparently, so they kept that one and gave me a brand new pair. This one's from the Philippines. The other one I had was from China. I'm not sure which one's better or worse, but my original pair was so good. I've had it for years, glassed up a lot of animals with it. And the 12 by 50 is, for what I'm doing, is pretty much money. Having that more light gathering capability here, having the 12 power for further ranging. Like I mean, I've found bears from over 2 miles away with these on many occasions. I've found a pack of wolves from like 2.5 miles away. Found a moose from 1.5 miles away, just with 12 power binos on a tripod. So that's money to me. Normally I have the Vortex Pro bino stud in here. Vortex took that with my other pair and they haven't sent me a new one yet, so I got to contact them, get another stud for that. But that mounts to my tripod, which I'm using to record this video. So I'm going to share that one a little bit later, but that tripod goes with me on every hunt now. Use it to glass game, use it to shoot off of. So, but that's it for the optics side of things. As you can see, it fits me really well, pretty tight. I've kind of adjusted these to be pretty form-fitting. If I'm wearing a jacket or a hoodie or something, this is a little bit tighter and that's not really a problem. Only when you get into wearing like a big heavy coat and you're just sitting around outside where this might be a little bit tight, but if you're trying to stay warm, tight isn't necessarily a bad thing. So that's that. Let's get into the pack itself. This thing is a freaking dream. I mean, it works as good today as it did years ago when I first bought it. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I'm spending all my money on all this stuff myself. So this is all my choices that I've settled on over the years, in the Mystery Ranch Sawtooth included. And I actually did not buy it because of the name, believe it or not. I bought this before I even had the YouTube channel. But hip belt is one of the most comfortable hip belts I've probably ever even touched in my life. The shoulder straps as well. They feel as good as they did brand new out of the box. I mean, I'm just so impressed with how well this thing has held up, with how much weight this has carried, and how many bad weather storms this thing has been in, how many times I've washed this. So it feels still brand new. I'm highly impressed. I know they have a new model out now. They changed the hip belt shape a little bit. I kind of think that this is better than the new model, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to find this or not, but they have the guide light or whatever. This is not the oldest, but this is not the newest, so I think it's like the version from the very newest one. Personally, I think that it works great. I don't know why they updated the hip belt part, but awesome pack. On the side here I have one of the Mystery Ranch side pockets. I think this is the large. They come with the smalls as well. That's the large. I have it on both sides. This is kind of where I keep some of my need to access without taking off the pack stuff. I just hate having to stop and take the pack off, especially if it's a time crunch or whatever. You just got to get going and keep moving, covering ground. So inside of this pouch I have some little things, but things that I want access to. First off is the Vortex Pro Bino adapter. So normally this lives on my tripod, and the tripod is mounted to the side of the pack with this Bino adapter basically just sticking straight up into the air. I'm using the tripod to record right now, so this is not mounted on there, so I put it in here, but normally this lives on the tripod. It's got the Ulanzi brand quick release plate for an Arca Swiss type mount with a 1/4 stud just screwed into it, and that's like Loctited and not moving anytime soon. And that just clips right onto the tripod, and the Bino slide in. You tighten this down and you have a super solid glassing platform. If ever I need to shoot off of the tripod like I did on that Bear S658, I take that Bino adapter off and I put it in this pouch so I have quick access to it again if I need to glass something. The next thing is a very good headlamp. So I've been fighting headlamps for years now. I finally found something that's working really well. This is the Nitecore HC68 2000 lumen headlamp. I've had the black diamonds, just not that impressed. I have a Phoenix. Seems to me like this has all of the features that I want and maybe a little bit extra. The Phoenix headband is a little bit nicer than the Nitecore one that came with this, so I put the Phoenix headband on this. This has a little bit more reflective stuff. This has a little bit of orange. It has some like silicone grippy on the inside, so it doesn't slide off very easily. It's a little bit easier to adjust. I like the orange, and I like the mesh breathability design of this. So the Nitecore headlamp lives at home, and the head strap, and I'm using the Phoenix one. This has red light, so flashing red and solid red. It has a floodlight and a spotlight, so you can have just the flood on, just a spotlight on, or both, and you could even have a different mixture of both. So if you're wanting to see a little bit further but it's still a little bit to the side, you can adjust exactly how much flood and how much spot you want just by holding them down and releasing them when you want it to stop. So that's pretty cool. This thing is super bright, waterproof, rechargeable with USB-C. The battery does come out, so if you want to carry an extra battery you can. I just recharge it with the power bank, so you just unscrew this side and you expose a USB-C charging port, and you can just charge this in camp or whatever, in your truck or between stocks or whatever you got going on. Super handy just to have the USB-C. I'm tired of replacing batteries when they're like half used on some of the Black Diamond stuff and Energizers and Petzls and all that. So headlamp lives here because I want to have quick access to it if I need it in a pinch. Next up I have a little holder with some extra ammo. This is all the 270 Winchester stuff I've been shooting. There's 5 rounds in here in like a Norma ammo holder. This is kind of what you buy from the store when you're buying ammo. It comes with like these little plastic ammo holders, and instead of throwing them away, I figured this works really well. You cannot get these to pop out if you shake this super hard. You have to like push it down a certain way, and then the ammo just slides right out. So I've been using that to hold some extra ammo. I like having them in like a Ziploc bag so that they're waterproof, but in a slight chance you need it, you are going to have a hell of a time opening that bag, undoing the tape. It's kind of how I used to do it, undoing the tape and then getting them out of there. This, you just push the ammo right here and it just pops right out, but you cannot get this out accidentally. So that's been working out for me for the past year. Been really liking that. Next up I have a small 1 ounce bottle of Natrapel, 20% picaridin, tick and insect repellent. So here in the Rocky Mountains we have a lot of ticks. I got bit by ticks like 7 or 8 times last spring bear hunting. Thankfully none this year, but sometimes you just really want to minimize those bites and keep them off of your skin a little bit. So I do try to wear gaiters, I try to wear a tight belt, try to wear tight clothing. The vinyl harness is pretty tight around my shoulders so they can't really get in. But still, every single time I just find ticks all over me. Like this year when I was bear hunting for the first day, I came home with like 17, 18 ticks on me and on my gear. So pretty horrible. So I've been trying to carry some of this stuff and spray once in a while. I'm sure it smells a little bit. I'm sure bears and deer and elk can smell this pretty well, but they could smell you no matter what you have on you. So I'm not really concerned about smell. I'm just concerned about the wind. And then the last thing I keep in here is a small little half-ounce bottle of hand sanitizer, just to keep your hands clean. If you're going to eat, go to the bathroom, wipe some gear down, whatever, get some blood out of your hands, and if you get cut or something, you can throw some of this on there pretty well, so you don't get infected. Like last year, I had a pretty nasty cut on my hand, and I was getting like the blood and the guts and stuff all over it. And so it's a nice thing to have to keep yourself clean and all the bacteria and germs out. Okay, on the same side, I've been packing a little Primos call holder, and I have 3 Rocky Mountain elk. What is that? Rocky Mountain hunting calls. I think these are the elk ones, but I've kind of had them there in case I need to make a little call or a little, sneaking up to a bear or a wolf or something. You can call and pretend you're a calf or a cow elk instead of a person walking. If you step on something loud or whatever, you make a noise, you can make a little call and maybe calm something down. So that's kind of why that's there. I'm not sure if it's really effective or not. I haven't had enough experience with using it as a cover call, but it's so light and it's so out of the way right there. I've just been packing it just in case. You never know when you might want to use it, or it comes in handy. The other side, I have a little selfie tripod. This is what I've been making all of my hunting films with. And I have a little phone holder and a Rode mic with a dead cat type of a wind diffuser with a USB-C cable. I'm using all of that right now to record this video, but normally that's mounted here. This tripod has extendable legs, but I epoxied them so that they don't extend because they kept getting loose on me, so I just filled this whole thing with epoxy. So now that's the full length of it. This is a nice ball head, so theoretically you could potentially even shoot off of this if you needed to, instead of a bipod or instead of the big tripod I'm using right now. But I haven't shot off of this yet. I've been using it to record all these videos, and it's working really well. It's carbon fiber with an aluminum top. Works really well for me, and I just kind of shove it in here between the hip belt and the hip belt pocket. And then I have the little Night Eyes brand elastic, just to kind of keep that tight and keep it from falling out, but I could just stretch it over and pull it out. On the same train of thought as recording, the only other thing I keep in this pouch is a camera. So this is the camera I've been using for some of the longer shots, a Canon PowerShot SX710HS. It's not super awesome, but it has gotten some really sweet shots, and that bear rolling down the cliff is what I used to is what I got with this camera right here. It's on a tripod adapter, so if I need to take a quick shot or whatever, I just put this on here, or I put it on the big tripod and lock it down, and I could use it to record some footage. It looks like my screen protector is cracked too. So I did break the screen last year, and I replaced the screen, and I put a screen protector on there. It looks like the screen protector is broken too. But that's the whole thought behind this thing. This is an aluminum, 1/8 inch aluminum, kind of a plate that I bent and got welded into the shape. So this kind of protects the camera when it's sitting inside the pouch, that I don't crack the screen again. Looks like the screen protector did its job right there. Took a little bit of the damage, but this just kind of lives in here. The hip belt is protecting a lot of the impact, and then this aluminum right here is protecting it from the outside. So that's the whole idea behind that. and that just lives in there, quick access. I will say I do have these zipper pulls. These are from Maxpedition. They're a lot better than the stock little thin paracord or whatever was on here. So I could grab this with gloves. I can grab this if it's like slippery or wet or whatever, and I could really get this thing open and closed quick. And especially if there's like dirt and stuff, tree sap in the zipper, you just can't get it open really easily, quickly. The zipper pulls really help with that. Another thing, the Garmin InReach. This lives right here on the shoulder strap. I'm not sure how much longer this will live on here, but for now this works great because it's out in the open. This, if you don't know, is a satellite GPS location and messenger. So I could text anywhere in the world. I just have to pay a monthly subscription, pay for the device up front, and pay for the contract plan up front, or the initiation fee or whatever you call it, installation fee. But every month I just pay the service. I could use this to hook up to my phone and text with my phone, or send location with my phone. If someone texts me, I can just open it on my phone instead of having to go into the device itself. I know some things like the Zoleo or the Bivy or the Spot or whatever, you have to have, you basically have to use your phone to use those because they don't have a screen, they don't have a way to type. This thing, in case your phone dies or you lose your phone, break your phone, you could still text and do a GPS with this. It's a little bit cumbersome to text with one of these, but you can still make it work. So you don't have to rely on your phone staying charged and your apps working and your Bluetooth working and all that. So that's kind of why I went with this one particularly. It is much smaller too. It's lighter than some of the other competitors. And it comes with a really nice clip, and I just have it clipped right here on the shoulder strap, always facing the sky. On this side as well, we have, wow, you gotta be here. On this side as well, we have this is the Exo Mountain Gear rifle sling. I don't know the exact term that they used to call it, but I kind of got tired of mounting the gun to my pack, and it takes so much time. And then you want to shoot or something, you want to go through some brush with it in your hands, take it back off. It's a lot of work, so I went with this sling. And I used to carry the sling itself inside one of the pouches and then just pulling it out when I need to. But as you can see, when you have stuff on the outside of it, it's kind of hard to get to in a pinch. So I decided to have it just mounted here to the outside. It's attached to the webbing on the hip belt here, and there's a little clip that I put on this sling. Pretty much all these clips are aftermarket, but there's a little clip here. I unclip it from that. It stays clipped here, and then I clip this to the strap down here, just like that. And now this is ready to hold my rifle. And so the rifle butt goes in here, and then I use one of these side clips to hold the top end of the rifle on. And it's so easy just to unclip this, pull the rifle out of that, unclip this, get it tucked out of the way like that. And so this just lives here now. I got tired of taking it in and out of the pouch up in there. It lives outside, so it's always ready to go. I missed a pretty big bull elk a couple years ago because I had to have the rifle strapped to my pack and it wasn't in my hands. So kind of learned my lesson to try to have the gun as accessible as possible, as much as possible. You just never know. You just never know what you might run into. Right beneath the Garmin InReach is a little titanium whistle made by Vargo. This thing is really loud. It's very light. In the case that you need to alert a friend or an animal of your presence, or call for help or whatever, and your gun's out, this will have an unlimited amount of sound. You don't have to, save bullets or whatever, or ration bullets to try to make sound. You can just keep calling on this as long as you have the breath in you. It is so light, I hardly ever feel it, and it's right there next to my mouth. I just have to turn my neck a little bit and breathe right into it, so it's right there accessible. I took the little clip off that it came with, and I put it inside of the little bungee elastic that the Mystery Ranch uses for the chest clip, whatever you'd call that. So that just lives there, just a little peace of mind that I have a way to make some noise without wasting ammo. That's pretty much it for the side without going into it. let's go into the back of the pack. So first things first, I do carry a glassing pad pretty much everywhere I go now, because sometimes you just have to sit for 7 hours straight in glass like I did this spring bear season. And when you've been sitting that long, you really just want to get your butt off the rocks a little bit, off of the wet snow or wet logs or whatever you're sitting on. And so having something like this is just crucial. This is just a Husky Home Depot brand kneeling pad that I cut into thirds. The whole pad comes pretty big. I cut a third off, and I've been packing this for a few years. And this is great, except it's been getting punctured by rocks, pretty sharp rocks, thankfully not my pants. But this year my wife and I decided to make a little protective cover for it, and it acts like a little blaze orange indicator, because normally I'm wearing blaze orange on my hoodie or my t-shirt or something, but you can't see that with the pack on unless I'm wearing like the blaze orange hat, which I have started doing now because I do want to be seen in the woods by other hunters, especially if I have antlers hanging off my pack. So we used an old blaze orange vest, and we just kind of sewed it together to fit this little glassing pad. And if we need to wash this, it just unzips. We throw it in the wash or something like that. Replace it or whatever, it just zips right up. And now I have a protective blaze orange pad that when strapped to the outside of my pack, I now have blaze orange hanging out that somebody can see me with if I'm walking away from them or turned away from them or whatever. And that lives right here on the front. It protects a lot of my stuff that's inside. It's also quick to grab, so I don't have to take my pack off. I could reach around, unclip it, pull it down, and then sit down without taking my pack off. Because sometimes you need to be warm, and you created all that heat with your pack on, and taking it off, you'd lose all that heat. So by not taking it off for a minute, you retain some of that warmth. And so like late deer season or early bear season, it's really helpful to keep that pack on without taking it off. So that lives here on the front. Another thing I've been carrying is some crampons. So I've been just strapping them up here to the top of the pack. Oftentimes they get really dirty and muddy and wet, and so I don't want to put them inside my pack and get everything dirty, wet, and nasty. They're also really sharp, and so I don't want to puncture all my bags and my clothing and stuff. So they just kind of live out here if they're wet. By the time I need to use them again, sometimes they're already dry and relatively clean. These are the Catula K10 hiking crampons. I have a whole review video on these, but these are pretty sweet. So they get pretty compact. I think these are the larges, but when you need to use them, you just unclip it, pull them to your shoe size that you preset, and clip them on. This is your back, this is your front. Clip them on, and you got really nice grip in snow and mud. I wouldn't recommend using them in like dry ground, rocky ground, because they do make a lot of noise if you're hitting rocks, potentially even creating sparks. So if you're like early, deer and elk hunting with a bow, or antelope hunting or something in fire season, probably don't want to wear them anyways, because there's going to be, you don't need that kind of grip in the summer. But really good for spring and fall hunts in the snow. So they usually just kind of stay clipped up here to the top, so they're out of the way and not getting all my stuff cut up and wet. I also have, this is the only blaze orange I've had for a long time before the pad protector there. This is just like one of the trail markers. I have a whole pack of these. I just clip one on here in case I need to see my pack or find my pack in the dark. I did lose my pack in the dark this spring. Really hated that gut-wrenching feeling, but having something like this could be the deciding factor between you losing a pack and you finding your pack. So in case you need to leave it behind in the woods or whatever and come back for it, this could make or break that. If you also need to use it to mark a trail, mark a kill, or mark game bags, or whatever you do, you can just take this off, clip it on, and you'll be able to find it with the flashlight or a headlamp pretty well in the dark. On this other side, I have a little Sea to Summit carabiner, a super ultra lightweight aluminum small carabiner in case I need to clip something to the pack. mend something that broke or whatever. I need to hang something in the tree. Need to use it kind of like a pulley or whatever, like a snatch block. That just kind of lives there. It's just a peace of mind that if I need to hold something together, I have access to it, and it just lives on the outside of the pack. Other than that, we got to dive in now. Oh, I did add some. These are like webbing tri-glides, I think they call them. I just bought these on eBay, and I used some extra webbing to sew on like little attachment points. And so when I bought the lid for this, I wanted to attach it a little bit differently than the way it comes from the factory designed to attach. So I ended up adding these tri-glides. There's one here I could just clip onto, and there's one here that's got an extra webbing loop sewed into it. Same thing on this side. There's another one that's extra that's got a little webbing loop sewn into it. And I believe I took this one off. Yeah, I took this one off. So 3 tri-glides in case I need to, and then I also have the Maxpedition zipper pulls, 2 on the main pocket and 2 on the little small pocket on the top. So that really helps with opening and closing this pack in adverse conditions. So let me get into kind of how I organize this. Very meticulous organization on this because I want to know exactly what's in here, and I can check it really quickly before I leave to see if everything's there without digging everything up. In this pocket, this little one up top, I keep all of the small things that I might regularly need access to, or like on every single trip I might need access to. So first things first, generally I only have one pack. This one's kind of running out, so I grabbed another one. This is the Sea to Summit Wilderness Wipes. This is your toilet paper, your hand wipe, getting your blood off of your hands, getting guts off your hands, cleaning a wound, cleaning your gun, whatever you got to do. These are just nice, gentle, there's not like solvents or anything on this, but it's like nice, gentle wipes that you could use for general purpose cleaning. And they're also compostable, so you could theoretically bury these and they will break down in nature. So that lives up here on the front, quick access to those. And then I have let's get into this too. I have a hand warmer. So early spring bear or late fall hunting, it gets pretty cold. Sometimes you just got to warm something up. You got to warm up a battery, you got to warm up a lighter, you got to warm your hands. A little super warmer that just lives in here could make or break a hunt super quick. These are a little heavier, but once they're used up, you can open them up and just dump them on the ground. It's just iron powder, and I think it's like aluminum or whatever. Iron, water, vermiculite, charcoal, polymer, and salt. So just a bunch of random stuff that comes from the earth anyways. You can just dump this right on the ground and save a little bit of weight. Then I have, the only other thing in here is this big pouch. This is kind of like all the goodies that are too small to just be left loose in here. Let's get into what's in here. All the good things are in here. This is the Mystery Ranch Zoid bag. I'm not sure if it's their small or medium one or large one. I think it's the small. But in here is a bunch of little things. I have some fire starter. This is the Zippo TMK Typhoon Match Kit. Waterproof, pretty much indestructible case. I like having fire starter when I'm out by myself. It has a little strike pad on the bottom here, and it comes with replacements that I have in here. Rubber cap to protect that, and then when you unscrew it, you can pretty much put anything in here. But I have the Zippo TMK Typhoon matches in here, or I have the UCO Titan matches in here. They're pretty much the same thing. I have an extra Bic lighter in here. I have a little fire starter piece in here that burns pretty long, and it's like wax coated, so it will be pretty water resistant in case this does get wet. But there's an O-ring here that I put on that keeps this thing pretty tight and waterproof. So the other thing in here is about 20 feet of ultra thin paracord. This is just kind of what you need if you need to hang your pack, need to hang some food in the tree, need to mend something, use as a shoelace. used to, I don't know, hold your camera, hold your flashlight, hold whatever, hold something in the creek from floating away. This is just kind of your general purpose. Pretty heavy duty cord. I know this will hold a full quarter, probably more. I think this is like the 220 or 250 pound rated cord, so it can hold a lot of weight, but I have a little bit in here. If you need to hang your quarters, this will do it. This is a little bit cumbersome. That's a lot of weight for one of these, but it will hold quarters. Next thing in here is my hunting, skinning, caping, gutting knife. All purpose. This is the Benchmade Saddle Mountain Skinner S30V steel. Really good steel. I used to machine this steel for a living, but it comes with like wood handles that I took off just to save a little bit of weight and to make it a little bit easier to clean. And it comes with like a nice leather sheath with like a plastic insert. It's all really nice, but too heavy for me, so I just bought a little sheet of Kydex online, heated it up with a torch and bent it to shape to fit this Saddle Mountain Skinner. And then I just wrapped it in electrical tape to hold it all together. Once a year I got to change this electrical tape because it gets cut a little bit right here. But that's a really lightweight package, and this knife is super strong. I could use it to pry bones. I could use it to break the skull off the spine. I could use it to hack some rib cages with this. Totally prefer a fixed blade knife over one of those thin razor blade ones that the razor blades can just snap on you so quick. If you need to break something apart, you need to even start a fire or whatever, you could use this to baton with. So totally love this knife. It's a little bit heavier obviously than some of the other options, but really nice knife for just general purpose hunting and surviving in the woods. Backup headlamp. I've gotten stuck out in the woods way too many times without a good light, with a dying headlamp, with having to use a cell phone or whatever. So I'm just not playing that game anymore. This is the Phoenix HM50R. Super small, weighs like 2 ounces maybe. Uses a really specific battery. It's not really easy to find, but this is USB-C rechargeable, which is a deal breaker for me. I do have a power bank, and I use that to recharge this if I need to. The other main headlamp I use is the Nightcore HC68. That's also USB-C rechargeable. So I would wish all my stuff was rechargeable with the same exact cord, and rechargeable in general. And this is no different. So this is what I use in case the main one is dead or dying. If it's not dying and I know my walk is really short, I will just clip this to my pack, and I will just turn the light on red to flash red while I'm hiking back in the dark. That way if somebody needs to see me, if I'm with the guy, they'll be able to see me in the dark. Or it could potentially ward off some predators, some grizzlies, mountain lions, whatever, if they're, you know, watching you walk down the trail and there's a bright flashing red light coming off of you. They might think twice about jumping on you if you have that. So that's kind of the story there. Backup headlamp, marking light. You could leave this with your pack. You could leave this with your game meat if you need to see where you left your stuff. Super bright. It's about 700 lumens, I think. So way brighter than my old black diamond headlamps I used to carry, but not even half as bright as a Nightcore. I think it's just a really good medium amount of brightness for a backup headlamp. In a pinch, this will definitely get you down the trail, and I have had to use it many times now when the main headlamp dies. So that lives in here. Obviously I don't need to access it every single time I'm out, so instead of keeping it in the side pocket, I keep it in this big pocket, and it's not that hard to get to without digging everything up. On the topic of recharging and USB-C, I have my power bank here in a silicone, kind of like a sandwich bag. These are a little bit prone to ripping, but it's still way stronger than your normal Ziploc bag. And then I have a pretty heavy duty DeWalt USB-C charging cord. I have used the lighter duty ones to save a little bit of weight, and I've had one break on me when my phone's like 5% and I'm at the top of a mountain needing my Onyx to get back. So that really sucked, and I'm no longer going to carry a cheap cable anymore. This is like a $15 cable. It's got heavy protection all woven around it. It's not just your typical Samsung rubberized cord. That will recharge both headlamps, recharge my phone from my Onyx, and recharge the inReach if I use the adapter. The power bank itself, this is the Anchor what was it, Power Power core 20,000 with quick charge 2.0 or quick charge 3.0, model A1272. So 20,000 milliamp hour. This will charge my phone like 4 times. This will charge the headlamp probably 4 times. It'll charge the inReach 10 times. You know, this is a lot of power right here. Probably overkill, but with me recording all these films now, and having all the electronics and wanting my headlamps to be topped off constantly, wanting my inReach to be topped off constantly, the 20,000 is a small price to pay. This thing's like maybe like 12-13 ounces, so it's not light. Maybe a 15,000 milliamp hour would suit me a little bit better, but so far no complaints. I keep it in the waterproof bag, and I just have to make sure this bag is in good shape before I leave. And then I've lost this so many times just in the dirt. I started putting reflective tape on it, both sides, so that I could just shine a light at it and it just shines right at you. So that goes with me on every hunt. It's got 2 USB ports. One's a quick charge 3.0, and then there's the IQ, power IQ, I guess. So they're both USB-C A, so they're not as fast as some of the USB-C 50 watts, 100 watts even. I'm still waiting on a good waterproof one to come out before I change over to one of those, but USB-C A is fast enough for me for now. And that lives in this pocket as well. Not something I'm digging into every single trip, but not too far to get to. Speaking of electronics and recharging, this is where I keep some of the other devices. This is just a Sea to Summit waterproof phone storage with the Velcro strap to keep it kind of contained. Inside this, I have a SanDisk SanDisk USB-C and USB-C A flash drive. So when I'm full on my phone storage, I could copy some stuff over and have a little bit of space, because I'm recording all these videos on my phone. I wish the inReach was USB-C, but it's not, so I have to carry a little adapter. I've lost this adapter like 3 times now, so I've been kind of trying to keep it in a bigger bag so I don't lose it. And then I have a backup USB-C to USB-C cable for my microphone, because the microphone I'm using now is USB-C or 3.5. Gosh dang, that bug flew right in my glasses. But those electronics and adapters and stuff lives in this little bag. I have played around with a smaller bag or a smaller case for these things. I do like the bigger bag because worst case scenario, I need to keep my camera waterproof, or I need to keep the super fancy digital microphone waterproof. I could put them in here, lock it up, and not have to worry about them getting rained on potentially overnight, or if I'm crossing a creek or something and my pack dips into the water, don't have to worry about it. I could just put it in here. This will keep everything completely waterproof. So that lives in here as well. Only a couple more things left in this bag. Next up, a small Ziploc bag with the full-size garbage bag in it. This little garbage bag takes almost no space. This is kind of like the last-ditch effort if you need to line the inside of your pack and keep all your clothes dry, keep all your food dry. If you need to hang something outside, you could put that in a tree or whatever. It's pretty flimsy because it's just your normal garbage bag, but if you need to pack something out, if you find a bunch of beer bottles or cans or something in the woods you want to pack out, but you don't want to just throw them inside your pack, you can just throw it inside the garbage bag and keep that protected. It's a small price to pay for a lot of use in a full-size garbage bag. Then last thing in here is a small ditty bag from Lewis & Clark. In here is a kind of like a moisture wicking neck cloth. This is like just a special material that wicks water really well. So I carry this just because you need to sometimes clean your hands. You know, if you got blood or whatever, you're washing them in the creek, your hands are frozen almost. And so drying them off really quickly without having to dip into some socks or a hat or something to dry off on is really nice. This will clean your lenses, this will clean your cameras, your scopes, your binos, you name it. So that just kind of lives in here too for just general purpose cleaning and drying. This ditty bag is not waterproof, it is water resistant, and then being inside this pouch that's also water resistant, and being inside the pack, which is also water resistant, I'm not too worried about this thing getting wet. And if it does, it's fine. It's not gonna it's not like it has a battery or something that's gonna die, so just gotta dry it out. But all these things live in this little baggie here on the top of the pack. And if I need to make a little fire while I'm glassing or something, that's all quickly accessible right here on the top pouch. Now dipping into the main pouch, this is where all the things are that I don't normally have to get, or if I do, it's fine having to go through this much trouble to get to it. So the first thing I have in here, generally have a regs book. This one's very thin. This could be used as fire starter if you end up not using it for the regs portion of it, but this has a bunch of information for legalities, maps, phone numbers, teeth, claws, antler length, you name it. One of these could save your bacon in in a hunting situation. If you don't want to use it for, or if you don't need to use it for hunting, write your notes on this, make paper airplanes, chop up some food on this, keep some stuff off the snow. This thing could just really come in handy, even as just plain fire starter. So I just keep that in here in the back. Doesn't weigh anything. The way I have this inside of this pack arranged is the stuff way at the bottom is going to be either the least used or the last used. So say you have a bear tag, you're going to go out 15 times in a season. You're not going to need your tags until you need to fill them. So my tags are way at the very bottom, and I'm not going to put my headlamp or something way down on the bottom and keep my game bags at the top. It doesn't make any sense, because I might be dipping into the game bags into the headlamp every single time I'm out, but I'm not going to dip into those game bags until the very last day when I need to use them to fill them with meat, and then I go home. So that's kind of the idea there. So this thing is on the top. This is a Sea to Summit, just a waterproof bag, 9 liter. I keep all of my extra clothing in here. So I have my gloves. These are made by a company called Huntworth. I just bought them from Walmart years ago. They work so well. I love them. It's kind of like a glove mitten combo, so I could shoot with my trigger finger really quickly, or keep my fingertips kind of a little bit warm. I could put some heat packs in here and in here to keep my hands warm. Sometimes when you're glassing for 5 hours straight, your hands get really cold. So I like mittens for that, to warm yourself up, but I also like having my trigger finger accessible, especially if you're getting set up on a shot for 15 minutes and you want your trigger finger accessible, but your whole hand is freezing. So really like these mittens. The only problem is they're not waterproof. They're not even water resistant, so the tiniest little bit of rain or snow, these things get soaked. I do need to find someone that can make some waterproof versions of these, but absolutely love them. They're made by Huntworth, and I doubt they sell them anymore, but I'm trying to make them last as long as I can because they're freaking awesome. If those are not on my hands while I'm going in, they're in this bag. So the other thing I'm keeping dry, just a good little knit beanie. If a flat bill hat like this just gets too cold or whatever, just need a little bit of more protection from the wind. One of these beanies lives in here as well. Same with a pair of socks. You never know when you get your feet wet or sweaty, you need to change your socks. So extra pair of socks, and then last thing in here is a neck gaiter. So also glassing for many hours, sometimes you just need to get some of the wind off your skin, so putting a neck gaiter on for a little bit extra wind protection, extra camouflage. Use it as a sweat rag, you name it. Gaiter lives in here. Okay, about the same elevation inside the pack, we have a little cinch bag. This is where I keep my raincoat. This raincoat is not light by any means, but this is a workhorse of a raincoat. This is the LL Bean Gore-Tex Pro shell. It's really loud, it's heavy, but it will keep every last snowflake, every last raindrop off of you. And sometimes I've just kind of got tired of using low quality rain jackets. As you can see, I've been in the rain way too many times and just got fed up with it. I do like that it's kind of like an orangey blaze orange reddish color, so oftentimes I'll wear it instead of a blaze orange vest because it's so bright you could see me from a ways away, and you don't have to wear, you know, a dedicated blaze orange vest on top of a raincoat, and the blaze orange vest is now rain resistant, so it's just soaking up water while you're wearing it on top of your raincoat. So I just think that's a little weird. Don't really like that idea. So having the blaze orange raincoat over the top of all your clothes just seems like a no-brainer to me. So that lives right next to my other clothing, and they're pretty much right up at the top. Above that, the only thing I'd have above that is like a bag of my lunch or my dinner and snacks, because more than likely I'm going to finish that for sure on that trip, but I might not be dipping into the raincoat, I might not be dipping into the extra clothing. And so below that, now this is all the hunting specific stuff. So another Sea to Summit waterproof bag. This is the roll top. This one is not a roll top, this is kind of a cinch, but you can hang this upside down in a tree and with your paracord and keep all your clothes dry. I have done that before. One of these just rolls up. You can throw this into the lake and it won't get wet. So in here is where I keep my game bags. These are the Argali MOB, so meat on bone, I guess is what it stands for. I have 4 of the big ones and 1 of the small ones for 4 quarters, and like the back straps, liver, heart, whatever you're packing. Those game bags live in here. They're really awesome game bags so far. I've really liked them. They're really tough. So here's the little small one, but they're made kind of like out of a nylon material, I think. It's really strong. It's got these sewn on attachment points for hanging it in tree and stuff. It's got the size written on the side, so you know exactly which one you're pulling out before you open the whole bag and then struggle to fold it back together all tight. The logo on the front is super easy to see if you shine a flashlight at this at night, so that's really nice too. If you hang these in a tree, you could find them really easily with the flashlight, if the white doesn't bounce out at you. But really strong. I've packed out the whole bear in these this year. I've packed out my deer last year in these. So those are in this bag staying waterproof because I do not want this thing getting wet without my knowledge and just kind of getting all nasty and mildewy without my knowledge in the bottom of the pack. So this just stays rolled up. As you can see, I've rolled it up already, and it's like a balloon, so even air can't come out. So this keeps them really dry, airtight, and protected at the bottom of my pack. I'm not going to need these way up at the top. I'm only going to need these at the very end of the season when I fill my tag. And then the other hunting related thing is another Mystery Ranch Zoid bag. This one's orange, so I know that this is hunting specific. All this is non-hunting specific. This could be for scouting, this could be for shed hunting, this could be for camping, you name it. This is all hunting specific. So my tags are in here somewhere, I hope. Oops. So all my tags. I have a little roll of electrical tape. This is just for your general purpose, covering your muzzle of your rifle, and I do shoot through that. I believe I shot my bear at 658 with the muzzle tape, so I have not seen an issue with shooting through the tape. Patch up some gear, wrap your tag around the horn or whatever with some electrical tape, so that lives in here. And I actually have real 550 paracord in here. There's probably about 20 to 25 feet in here. This is the workhorse to hang all your quarters, or you need to tie an elk leg or something to the tree while you're gutting it, skinning it. That's what this is for. So this is kind of my general purpose stuff, just to mend some gear or hold something temporarily. This is to hang meat into a tree, or tie an elk antler or something onto your pack, or tie some quarters onto your pack, or you name it. This is like the hunting specific stuff that's really heavy duty. 550 pounds at least breaking strength on this. And it is blaze orange, so you can see it really far away, and it has the reflective, there's like a little reflective ribbon woven into the rope itself, so you can shine a flashlight at this and see it from a distance. So really like that reflective stuff a lot. Next I have 3 zip ties. If you watch my films, I just zip tie the tag to the antlers or to the ears. It works really well, super fast, really strong, completely waterproof too. If you do need to use this to mend some gear, it works really well as well. Probably better than the tape does. Next up I have a pack of Hunter's Specialties field dressing gloves. I have yet to actually use these on a hunt. I think I may have used them on one of my bears, but the idea here is if you do get cut really bad like I did last year, I cut myself on my hand, and so all that gutting, all that blood was getting just shoved right into under my skin, and that really sucked. So the idea is I'll just wear some gloves next time, keep my wounds clean. If I'm bleeding, I'm not getting it into the meat, you know, that's kind of a problem. So super short peace of mind right there. Small peace of mind right there that having some gloves on hand is not a bad idea, I think. Also, I think if you're processing meat with some gloves on like this, it will keep your hands warmer, because that the blood and the meat and the fat and stuff is not touching your skin as much, because it'll be touching the plastic instead of right on your skin. So I could theoretically see like a 50% improvement in hand warmth when you're like in the middle of winter trying to cut up some meat in the field. So that's the idea there. Another Ziploc bag with 3 garbage bags. This is for a cape, like some nasty bloody bear hide or lion hide or something that you just don't want to throw into your pack and get fat all over everything. Throw it into a garbage bag and protect all your stuff. This could also be for, you know, you find some shed antlers or something that are kind of nasty. You don't want to just shove everything in there and get everything disgusting. You have some dirty clothes, you have some sweaty clothes, you have some gosh, I don't even know. You got like my knife after I'm done processing all the meat, my tarp. I just throw all that in one of these, shove it in there, and everything's super clean. I don't have to wash my pack sometimes. So that's really handy. Speaking of tarp, this is the tarp I've really been enjoying the last few years. Survive outdoors longer. This is like $4 or $5, 1 to 2 person, I believe. This works as an emergency shelter in a pinch. Life-saving warmth. Weighs only 2.9 ounces, and it's 56 inches by 84 inches. So you can make a ground tarp, you can make a rainproof shelter, keep yourself warm. Worst case scenario, cover up some gear, cover up some firewood, you name it. I've been using this to just basically throw onto the dirty ground, and then as I'm cutting up my meat quarters, I'm laying it onto the tarp, letting them cool off, letting them dry off before I'm putting them in game bags. So this is I just think it's such a neat little thing to have on you, just to keep all your meat off the ground. If you have snow, great, but oftentimes you just don't have snow to put all your meat on. So I've been putting it on the tarp, and also works as many other potential uses in a pinch. I do have another one of the reflectors in here, again marking trails, game bags, packs, you name it. Then I have an Arkansas sharpening rod. This thing came as like a long rod with a handle. I broke that off. Now it's just like a 3.5 inch sharpening stick for my fixed blade knife. I have yet to use this on a hunt because the knife is so good. It lasts the whole animal, and then I just sharpen it when I get home before I completely process it. But if you absolutely need to sharpen it for some reason, this little rod right here will do the trick. And the last thing in my dedicated hunting specific pouch is a Sea to Summit Wilderness Wash with a citronella smell. So it helps keep insects away. Biodegradable, multi-purpose outdoors wash concentrate. Super concentrated, suitable for fresh and salt water, body wash, shampoo, dish detergent, clothes detergent. So washing the blood out of your hands, washing some guts, washing your cookware, washing your face, your head, your hands. This thing goes a long way. It's super concentrated, so just a couple drops will really get the job done. And I've really liked having this just to keep myself clean and keep some gear clean. So that lives in the dedicated hunting specific pouch right here. Don't ever really have to tap into this bag unless I shoot something. So the tags, the soap, the bags, you name it, all this stuff lives in here unless I shoot something, and my season has pretty much come to an end. Okay, there's only a couple things left in here. On the side here, I have the Mystery Ranch Blaze Orange pack cover. Theoretically, I could just wear that instead of using my Blaze Orange glassy pad, but this covers up everything, so it covers up all your zippers. It kind of gets in the way. It's a little bit noisy because it's a little like ruffled nylon type of material. It's not super water resistant like the Gore-Tex Pro Shell is, so if you have this on all day, it will get just soaked. It will absolutely get soaked. So this just kind of keeps some of the heavy splashing off of it and the snow from melting and getting on it. Does work pretty well, but not your end-all water resistance. And that lives here in the side pocket too. There's 2 side pockets inside the pack, and I always have the same exact things in those pockets. On the other side, I do have some Ziploc baggies. They're so small, they're so light, it's a no-brainer for me. You need to like put the randomest things in here, a dirty pair of socks or something. They just live in here. Take some cool rocks home or something, put them in those Ziploc baggies. And then I do have 2 pouches on the inside of this. They're part of the pack cover right here, this big pocket. There's 2 pockets, and the exact same things are always in these pockets, so I always know where this is at. The first thing is my first aid kit. This is just a hard Plano brand storage box, and I bought these first aid kit stickers and I put it on there. That way there's no question what this is. If I'm in a critical situation, somebody can find this pretty easily just by looking at it from a distance. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here that I've never used. I'm hopefully never going to use, but there's a lot of ibuprofen, super glue, band-aids, like a stitching kit, poison ivy stuff, gauze, tape, you name it. A whole bunch of stuff in here that you might need for yourself, you might need for your buddies, you might run into some people in the woods. So the first aid kit just lives right here, always in the same exact spot. This case is pretty hard. It protects some of the possibly softer stuff inside, and then this obviously sits right in front of that, so it's kind of like multiple protection for all the stuff that's in here. If I put a spotting scope in there, if I put some camera gear in there, some chips or something you don't want smashed up, just some extra protection right there on the front of your pack. And then below that is another zipper pocket, and the exact same things are in there. This always lives in that pocket. This is a little ditty bag again, and this houses my water filtration system. So it always lives in the exact same spot in this pack. I always know where it's at. That's critical for me. And here is the whole kit. The workhorse is the filter itself. If I can pull it out. This is the Sawyer squeeze. I've used the mini, and it's not as fast. This is way faster. It's a little bit bigger and heavier, but this is so much faster that I think it's totally worth it. The flow is one direction, of course, and I do have caps on both ends to keep contaminated water from coming out of this, because I don't want to use it to filter water and then just shove it into my pack and get contaminated crap water all over all my stuff. So I do have a cap on this, and I do have a cap on this. So even if it gets filtered, it'll be clean. As you can see, water just poured out of it. It'll be clean, but it still will keep all my stuff from getting soaked with water. I do have one of these kind of mouthpiece caps, so I could just drink straight from the creek or from the lake or something. Just pull this out and just drink right there. The little cap here protects that nozzle. And then here I have a twist-on adapter. So this I bought from Sawyer, but this just kind of twists on here. It's just a standard water bottle thread. So if you wanted to just fill up a little water bottle, screw this right on there and drink through that. I know some people do that with like the smart water bottles because they're so lightweight, but that's the idea, is that this is the normal water bottle thread that you could use any water bottle with, and use that to filter into or out of. This adapter, however, from Sawyer has a little barb on it, So worst case scenario, you can actually use your water bladder line, cut it, stick it on here, and fill your bladder with dirty lake water or pond water and suck through it, and use your bladder as a temporary dirty water filtration system. So if you don't have time to filter it, sit around and wait for it to filter, you can just fill your bladder, hook it up, and start hiking out or whatever. You'll probably want to replace the bladder after you get home, but it will get you filtered in a pinch and keep you safe. If you do cut the hose to put it on here, you need a barb for the other end, so there is a barb built into the filter that you just slide the other end of the hose on, and your mouthpiece is right there. However, the way I've chosen to filter water is with a squeeze bag. So this is the squeeze bag I've gone with. This is made by Knock Outdoors, Vecto 2 liter, made in China, designed on the trail. Basically, you fill this with water. This top slides off. You open this up, and it's a pretty nice big pocket you could just scoop a bunch of lake water into this. Fold this over, put this lock back on there, and now this has your standard water bottle thread. And so basically the filter, you take this barb adapter off, you screw the filter right on there, and now you have essentially a big water bottle that you can use you could just drink straight out of, or you could filter it into your bladder if you need to. So speaking of that, that's what I have this adapter for. This is also from Sawyer. This is your standard water bottle thread, but you unscrew this, you screw this on. Now you could screw a little water bottle to this, or you could screw on the bladder of choice if your threads are compatible. So in my case, I have the platypus. Let me get this out. I have the platypus hoser, 2 liter, and this is your standard water bottle thread. So you just thread that on here. Fill this bag with dirty water. Hang this up in a tree by the little tab up here, and just let this filter right into your bladder while you're making camp, while you're changing your socks, whatever you're doing. This will be full in 5-10 minutes. So that's the whole idea behind that. Some guys will use a little hand pump, but you have to sit there and do that the entire time. Some guys will just hold this and try squeezing this, which also does work, but honestly, just filling this up and just hanging it up in a tree works really well. And that's partially why I have the cord here, or I have the carabiner, so I can just hang stuff like that in the tree. Worst case scenario, if your squeeze bag pops and you just can't fill it with water, all you got to do is just screw on your filter right onto your dirty bladder and just drink straight through your sacrificial bladder at that point. So having the threads match each other is just a game changer to me. I've yet to find a system that works as well as this, with so much potential for bad things to happen that are solved by this system. So really like that. That's been working out. And then having these caps just keeps all that water, dirty or clean, from leaking all over everything. And that just kind of lives like that in this little pouch, and don't have to worry about it leaking all over everything. Worst case scenario, if the water filter dies and just cannot filter, if all my bladders are popped, everything's just going downhill, last ditch effort, these are some purification tablets from Catadine. These are the Micro Pure MP1. Contains sodium chlorite 6.4% and sodium dichloroisocyanurate dihydrate 1%, whatever that is. But this, you just put it into looks like a liter of water, let it sit for 4 hours, and you have drinkable water. It might not taste very good, but it will keep you safe for a couple days while you get yourself out. So all that is in this little baggie. That's the filtration system. That's the water system. And I generally don't pack a lot of water with me because I don't drink a lot of water. This is only like a 2 liter, and sometimes I don't even have this all the way full. So the goal is to basically go into places where I could just filter my water into my bladder and keep going for the day. If not the end of the world. I'll make it. So about the platypus, I've had this for years. This thing is absolutely awesome. It's only 2 liters, but I don't think I really need a bigger one. They do have some bigger ones that I don't really care to buy. This seals really, really well. I've never seen this thing leak on me, and the tiniest little cinch of this nut just completely seals that off. I have done a little bit of work to this whole water system. So this is the Osprey water bladder hose, because the one that came with this was bright blue, and I know deer and elk and stuff can see blue very well, so I didn't want a blue hose just hanging out on my pack. So I went with the clear one from Osprey, and then I put the insulation over the top to kind of help keep it a little bit cooler in the summer and a little bit warmer in the winter. I have had it freeze in here, but I think this insulation just kind of helps keep it a little bit more temperature controlled, and it keeps the glare off of it, so otherwise it's pretty shiny. On the business end, I have this also Frankenstein. This is an Alps Outdoors on and off valve, so you just kind of push it to open and close it, and that closes the flow. So if you have this in your car or whatever, getting smashed by a bunch of stuff, if you squeeze this, you're not just going to pour water all over everything. So you can just lock it shut. It has a little magnet here, but I'm not using the magnet attachment. I'm using just the clip that came with the platypus, so it just mounts to my strap, and then it just like pressure fits in there. If I need a drink, I just pull it off, drink, clip it right there. It's always accessible. But the bite valve itself is from Platypus. The valve is from Alps Outdoors. The hose is from Osprey. The insulation is from some, I don't know, online Amazon or eBay listing that I put on there. But that works really well for me. I have no reason to change it. The only problem I've had is it freezing in the winter on long trips. So maybe might need to put some like heat pads or something on it, around it, just to keep it from freezing. But or go with some kind of insulated bottle, which I hate doing because those are really heavy. But all in all, that's basically it. That's the pack. That's what I use for pretty much all my hunts now, even shed hunting and scouting and stuff. It's most of the stuff is with me, other than maybe this and this. So if I know I'm not going to go fill a tag, I'm going to leave the game bags, and I'm going to leave all of the tags and the zip ties and the gloves and stuff home, but I'll take everything else. So having everything kind of compartmentalized, oh my gosh, is really handy, just so I know, like, okay, I'm not going to go out in the rain today, so I'm going to leave this, or I'm not going to go into the snow today, so I'm going to leave that. Just having everything kind of in a system works really well for me. So this whole setup right here probably only weighs like 20 pounds, 25 pounds. I know it looks like a lot, but a lot of the stuff has been altered and modified. It's been made to be multi-purpose. Some of the stuff I don't carry on every single hunt, like I might leave behind the raincoat, or I might leave behind the crampons, I might leave behind the hand warmers, things like that. But for the most part, all this only weighs like 25 pounds at the most. I do have the camera, I do have the protection for the camera, the tripod, the microphone, the phone holder. So all that stuff does add up, and most people won't have that part of it. But it's really not that bad. And being by myself and going solo so much, I do need to be prepared for pretty much whatever the mountains can throw at me, which is sometimes a lot. So thanks guys for watching. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, please put them in the bottom. I read everything. I respond to almost everything. I really appreciate all the support and all the feedback. So thanks guys for watching, and good luck this season. Heavy packs. See ya.